大家好，欢迎收看今天的节目。我们都知道，古今中外很多的艺术家、文学家以及诗人，除了对于文学的创作热情之外，还对于形而上的玄学非常感兴趣。我们著名的诗人李白就对于修仙这个课题非常有兴趣。那么叶芝也不例外他对于这个魔法一直是非常好奇的。那么在今天的这期节目当中呢，我们将聊一聊他和魔法之间的关系。让我们一起进入今天的对话。
So that's kind of Yeats 2, and then Yeats 3 is the Yeats that was involved more. Well, that I suppose that Yeats could also be very political and write about the various events that unfolded in Ireland. So that's kind of Yeats, the nationalist kind of politician. But then there's the Yeats that became increasingly interested in mysticism.
Become a magician.
More or less kind of became or tried to become a magician.
Like certainly, Harry Potter,
I'm not sure that I think you're doing something. I think the Irish people watching might be slightly concerned about reducing Yeats to the level of Harry Potter.
No. My bad.
No, it's not bad. It's fine, but it's just not quite right.
It's like a magician, I would like to say. It's more about like playing magic. Like, that feels
it wasn't really about ta-da.
Ta-da.
It wasn't really about it. It was about a quest for the deep mysteries.
Natural spirit.
Yeah, the mysteries of the universe and trying to understand. I mean, it was like religion, but Yeats didn't really have a religion. Because although he was of the Church of Ireland, so he was Protestant, his father was a skeptic, I think, famously. And so Yeats hadn't, unlike most Irish writers, he hadn't grown up with a very strong sense of religion. Yeah, either Catholic or Protestant. Mm-hmm. So he was sort of searching. And what's brilliant about Yeats is that all of these things will kind of come together often. So his poetry is often a layering of miserable lost love or a quest for romance or in fact for physical intimacy in a kind of a very Irish, slightly invented, imagined Irish context, with a kind of curious, magical thing going on that's not from anywhere obvious and is connected to big ideas of theosophy, which was sort of an Eastern, kind of a Western imagining of Eastern religions.
Okay.
So, very complicated. And at various points he was involved in the Golden Dawn, which was a sort of a cult, almost devil worship stuff. Like, it's all very strange. And it's very easy to laugh at Yeats because he was sort of going around London and Dublin and going to these strange meetings and doing automatic writing and Ouija boards and summoning up the spirits of the dead.
What was his purpose? Is he kind of like aiming for become a kind of sort of people who can play magic, or his aiming is to explore more territory of writing?
Well, I don't know. Obviously, the most obvious thing, but I think I kind of know. Is that I think it was a very genuine quest to try and uncover the truth.
Truth of the world.
Truth of the universe behind the obvious. So I think for him it was entirely sincere, and he would question things and he would argue, and he wasn't an idiot, so he was absolutely capable of being skeptical, but he was looking for a universal truth. What's fascinating, and that's very easy to laugh at, so it's easy to find it slightly funny that he was doing all these things. Why? Well, it just is funny, isn't it? People kind of doing automatic writing, calling up the spirits of it's easy to laugh at.
I remember that when I was in the school doing writing course.
Yeah.
At the beginning, one of the teachers asked us to write in that way.
Automatic writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's sort of the unconscious.
Unconscious.
But Yeats's wife, anyway, when she did automatic writing, when he was married,
which intense marriage.
Yeah, his later marriage. When she was doing it, she wasn't calling up her unconscious. She was calling on the spirits of the dead.
What's the difference? How can he know if that's from the dead, or it's from the unconscious?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good question. How can anyone know? And I guess that's the possibility. But what's always fascinating about Joyce is that this kind of stuff he did, Yeats,
Oh.
they're all the same. This stuff that Yeats did, which is very easy to kind of laugh at. Like, I think it's funny. I don't believe in.
Spirit.
Yeah, I don't believe you can kind of call up this. We can all hold hands, and I mean, maybe you can. I don't know. I don't believe that. It seems a bit. It seems a bit silly. It seems a bit silly. Which I think Yeats was accused of being silly by several people, including I think W.H. Jordan. But anyway, so people at the time thought this stuff was funny.
Okay.
But it ends up being in his poetry in a way which is magnificent and moving and not silly at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the final gift of Yeats, I think, for me. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I was rereading his poetry on the train this morning, having picked up this book that I've had for years. I mean, probably.
That you brought to Ireland for the very first
time. I think I've had it for 40
time.
years, and it's it's stained and marked, and I find it so moving and so profound. He's one of those. And actually, I thought I'd read you a couple of quotes that I think are very. They seem very Eastern to me.
Eastern.
Yeah, like I wonder what you'll think, because they're very. I mean, he was a brilliant writer, in the sense that, like all true poets, he could take very ordinary English and put words together in a way, just like Shakespeare, that somehow, even though the words are not particularly learned or particularly profound, somehow they contain coded within the rhythm and the sound of the words and the way that rhythm and sound interact with meaning to produce something which is very memorable. And reading through the book, I realised how many of the phrases have sort of lingered in me, and I've even forgotten. Quotes from Yeats will often end up as titles of radio programs or films.
Oh.
He's one of those writers that just is magnificent at doing that. And yeah, just three little things I was reading this morning that I thought were rather beautiful. Man is in love and loves what vanishes. What more is there to say?
Man is in love and loves what vanishes. What more is there to say?